Welcome to your AI deep dive. We're going to unpack some really wild advancements today, like OpenAI's new tools, this big hardware push from NVIDIA, creative AI from Adobe. Oh, and even Google's taking on AI's energy consumption.
Hmm.
And get this, that whole prove you're human thing. Yeah, we're going there too. Ready to dive in.
Absolutely. And honestly, I think you're right. Some of these developments are truly, really eye-opening. I mean, we're not talking about, baby steps here. This is more like AI is shifting gears and just accelerating into like a whole new territory.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start with OpenAI. They're making some big moves. It's like they're going from just supplying what are they, the building blocks of AI to actually creating whole solutions.
Yeah.
Their new swarm agent framework is a perfect example. But what's got me curious is this whole idea of multi-agent orchestration. It sounds pretty complex. I mean, what does that actually look like, in action?
So imagine a team of AI specialists, each one like a total master in their own right. One's a whiz at weather prediction, another one deciphers like super complex data, another one writes code like it's nothing.
Right.
That's basically Swarm in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's this framework where all these like specialized AIs collaborate together seamlessly, each one playing to their own strengths.
Like a high-functioning team, each one bringing like their A game to the table.
Exactly. And the really amazing part is that the user has no idea which AI is doing what.
Wow.
The article had a great example, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you need some weather information. So you just ask Swarm, and it like automatically routes your request to the weather agent within its whole network. Behind the scenes, there's this really intricate handoff that happens, and you get your forecast without even realizing how complex that whole process actually was.
That's wild, but this level of sophistication, I mean, this can't come cheap, right?
Yeah.
Which brings us to NVIDIA's new DGX B200 GPU. And get this, $400,000 for a single chip. Are we buying a sports car here, or are we powering the AI revolution?
It's a bit of both, honestly. I mean, that price tag, if
Ah.
anything, it's a sign of how serious and expensive AI development is becoming. You see, the DGX B200, it isn't just a faster graphics card.
Yeah.
It's a specialized processor that's custom built to handle the massive, massive amounts of data that these AI models need to learn. So the engine that powers those really sophisticated agents we were just talking about.
So this is what OpenAI needs to actually build and train those specialized AIs within Swarm.
You got it. And remember, training these models requires crunching through mountains and mountains of data. Like we're talking text, images, code, you name it.
Yeah.
The DGX B200 is NVIDIA's answer to that. It provides the raw computational muscle needed to make that happen.
Yeah.
And get this, there's already a pre-order backlog for this chip.
Oh.
So clearly, it's not just OpenAI that needs this kind of horsepower. This thing is in serious high demand.
It's mind-boggling. A single chip costing as much as like a house, and everyone's just clamoring to get their hands on it. It makes you wonder, though, if this level of investment is just going to concentrate all this AI development in the hands of, a few powerful players.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a second. Let's talk about Adobe, a company that's practically, synonymous with creativity. You'd think artists would be running for the hills with all this talk of AI, but their Firefly tool, it seems like they're kind of adapting in a really interesting way.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest fears creatives have about AI is that, it's just going to replace them entirely.
Yeah.
And while that's a valid concern, I think Adobe's approaching it a bit differently. Firefly is all about augmenting creativity, not replacing it. It's like having an AI assistant that can help you generate images, videos, even whole artistic styles, all based on your prompts.
So instead of fearing AI, they're embracing it as like a collaborative tool.
Exactly. And they're addressing a major, major pain point for professionals. Copyright. Firefly's big claim to fame is that it's designed to generate commercially safe content.
Okay.
So no more worrying about whether that cool image you used was trained on copyrighted material. Firefly just eliminates that headache entirely.
That's huge.
Yeah.
For anyone working in a professional creative field, no more legal nightmares just for using an AI tool.
Right.
I'm curious, though, what kind of, I don't know, creative juice can you actually get out of this Firefly thing? What can it actually do?
It's surprisingly versatile. It's not just about text-to-image generation, although it does that incredibly well. Firefly can also create videos from text prompts. It can morph still images into moving ones.
Wow.
Imagine describing a scene and having the AI generate a short animation based on your words. It's pretty remarkable.
Wow, it sounds like Adobe is really trying to like empower creatives with this technology, not sideline them, but all this talk of powerful AI and, massive data sets and all this custom hardware. I mean, it makes you wonder about the energy it all consumes. Isn't all this computing power going to leave a giant carbon footprint?
That's the elephant in the room,
Yeah.
right? All this incredible AI tech, it needs energy. And like a lot of it. But it seems like Google's actually taking that challenge head on. They've partnered with this company, Kairos Power, and get this, they're exploring modular nuclear reactors.
Nuclear reactors
Yeah.
to fuel the AI revolution. It sounds like we're like ripping a page right out of a sci-fi novel here.
It might sound a little radical, but
Yeah.
but remember we're talking about like the cleanest and most efficient way to actually generate those massive, massive amounts of energy
Yeah.
that these data centers just eat up.
Right.
It's about finding a sustainable path forward for AI, and Google seems to be, putting their money where their mouth is. They seem to be betting on nuclear as a key part of that.
Okay. So instead of like coal-powered AI, we might have like clean, efficient, nuclear-powered AI.
Right, exactly. It makes you realize, though, how this technology is like touching every aspect of our world, even down to the energy sources we rely on. Speaking of which, let's talk about Worldcoin. Well, I guess it's called World now. This whole proof of humanity thing, I don't know, it seems like something ripped straight from like a dystopian future, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Feels like something out of a science fiction thriller. But think about it. As these AI agents become more, more advanced, more integrated into our lives, how do we even know who's like pulling the strings anymore?
Right.
How do we tell the difference between a human and like a really, really good AI? That's the problem that WorldCoin is trying to solve.
You're right. The lines they're definitely starting to blur. And with OpenAI developing these like hyper-realistic agents, things are about to get a whole lot blurrier. So is WorldCoin suggesting that we all need some kind of like digital ID card, like proving we're human?
Oh.
That's the basic idea. WorldCoin is developing this device. It's called the Orb, and it like scans your iris to create a unique identifier.
Okay.
So think of it like a digital fingerprint, but for your eye.
Right.
The idea is that this iris scan then becomes your proof of humanity in this world where, where digital interactions are just becoming more and more complex and potentially like even deceptive.
So let me get this straight. In the future, we might actually need to verify that we're not robots just to like interact online.
Yeah, potentially.
It sounds like we're entering, I don't know, like some uncharted territory here.
Yeah.
What are the implications of this proof of humanity idea?
Well, I mean, for starters, it really makes you actually stop and think about like what it means to be human in a world that's increasingly, populated by AI.
Yeah.
On a practical level, having like a secure way to distinguish between, humans and these AI agents, it could be essential for, for security and trust,
Yeah.
especially in things like online transactions, legal matters, even like basic social interactions.
Wow.
Imagine a world where you have AI agents that are, negotiating business deals, providing medical diagnoses, maybe even like running for political office. Knowing who's who in that digital landscape is going to be, extremely important.
It's like we need like a digital passport to navigate this new world.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But of course, it also raises some, concerns about privacy, about control, even about potential discrimination.
Right.
I mean, who gets to decide what actually constitutes proof of humanity? What happens to those who just like can't or won't participate in that kind of system?
Yeah.
These are really like profound ethical questions that we as a society need to really grapple with, and sooner rather than later.
It's a slippery slope. And it really makes you wonder about like what are the unintended consequences of all this, this rapid technological advancement.
Right.
On one hand, we have these amazing tools that could revolutionize, everything, healthcare, transportation, art, you name it. But on the other hand, we're talking about a future where we might actually need to prove our own humanity. It's a lot to, to unpack.
It is, and it's important to remember that this is still just the beginning. These advancements that we're seeing today, this is just a glimpse into what the future of AI could be.
Right.
As these technologies continue to evolve, I think we can expect even more profound changes in the years to come.
You're absolutely right. And as we dive deeper into this world of AI, it's clear that we're not just dealing with lines of code and algorithms. We're dealing with like fundamental questions about about what it means to be human. What values do we want to instill in these machines? What kind of future do we actually want to build with them? It's a true double-edged sword, right? Like the potential for AI to, I don't know, solve these complex problems, push creative boundaries, maybe even tackle climate change. It's huge. I mean, it's enormous. But it also kind of forces us to, confront some really, I don't know, uncomfortable questions about ourselves, about our own humanity.
It really does. And it's really on all of us to kind of stay informed, engage in these conversations, make sure that we're like shaping this technology in a way that aligns with our values. We can't
Yeah.
just sit back and let the algorithms just decide the future.
Yeah. You're preaching to the choir here, but seriously, you've given me, and I hope our listeners too, a lot to chew on today. From AI agents working together like expert teams to, I mean, the possibility of like nuclear powered data centers. It's clear that the future is it's closer than we think,
Yeah.
and it's going to be anything but boring. What's your biggest takeaway from all of this?
Honestly, I think what strikes me most is just the sheer speed and scale of all these advancements. It's like we're standing on the edge of this like technological earthquake, and those aftershocks are going to be felt for generations to come. I think if I had to leave our listener with one thought, it would be this: don't underestimate the power of AI. It's not just a tool anymore. It's becoming like a collaborator, a competitor, maybe even dare I say like a reflection of ourselves.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our AI deep dive. You've heard about the breakthroughs, the crazy investments, the ethical dilemmas, and of course, the potential for a future that's totally reshaped by artificial intelligence. Now it's your turn. What will your role be in shaping this future? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and as always, keep those sources coming.